We have an audience from all over the world here this morning. So I'd firstly thank you for coming. Some of you at Saturday afternoon, some of you at some Sunday morning. The topic of today's presentation is collaboration. So I'd firstly like to introduce Kate Kerrigan. And I had the great pleasure of meeting Kate Kerrigan in Sama, at Sama in 2016. And Kate and I hit it off and had many an evening sitting around chatting about mosaics during the conference. And that was just a wonderful, wonderful time. So I've been watching Kate really closely since then, and have been really delighted to see her current project piecing us together. And she's joining us today from Oregon, the United States, to discuss that project.
So unlike just you two collaborating, I just collaborated with 542 people in person, and 85 of which are actual mosaic artists, but the rest of them are all family, friends, acquaintances from my past and present. And so I was sort of on this road trip where I went and visited each of these people in their homes, or outside in a park or wherever they felt comfortable. And everybody created their own little mosaic.
So Kate, how did this idea come to you? Were you in the shower? How did you come up with it? Where was the bolt of lightning to travel around? How did you decide where, when, who, how?
Yeah, so I got the idea May 15th of last year, walking my dog, which is where a lot of my ideas come from, or when they come. And because I've been mulling over, like, through the pandemic and the lockdown, like, a lot of different ideas. So it's not like exactly it came out of nowhere, even though it did feel like it was a lightning bolt of it all just came together quick. But I'd been thinking, just about relationships and family and the importance of, in-person connections and relationships. I've been thinking about travel and how much I missed it. And I just want to get my car and go. I've been thinking about my work in general, which has been shifting in a neat direction, a little bit more abstract and dealing with current and social issues. So, and I'm like, man, like, good art comes out of hard times, like how much stuff has come out of World War II, books, films, music, and we're in something right now that's so important, and it's going to have a lasting effect for all of us, of course. And so I just been mulling over, like, where's my art going? I want to do something bigger and more meaningful. So all those ideas just kind of came in this, like, travel, go visit your friends around the country, and do it. And so my mom was turning 80 July 14th back in Wisconsin, where I'm from. And so I'm like, well, if I had to back up from that date, like, I need to be there then. So I started just like, if I left, it came up with July 1st of leaving. And there weren't that many people between Oregon and Wisconsin. So, but I started plotting people. I used Facebook immensely to figure out where everybody lived. I don't have their numbers or emails or know where they live. So Facebook and social media was actually incredibly helpful, like it should be, connecting people, but this was in a face-to-face way. So yeah, and then I just started plotting out. I had a whole list, a database of probably over 800 names. Clearly I wasn't gonna probably see everybody, but that was my potential. And then with room for a lot of meeting new people and
So one of the things, so you've got 540 participants and counting. So, when I heard that, I just think, oh my goodness, like, collaborative, color, design, chaos. How do you refine it so that it looks good? Because I've seen this come together in your post, and it looks so sophisticated and it looks so unified. So what strategies did you employ in order to give the project these parameters to ensure sort of visual cohesion?
Right. The only parameter, honestly, was the color choice. I based it on 4 different places that I lived: Wisconsin, San Francisco, Lake Tahoe, and then now Oregon. And that would be how I knew the person that I was going to see. So that was going to be the color that they would use. So depending on where I met that person or how we knew each other, that was the color combination. And it actually worked out really well in spreading out all the color. Other than that, I let go. I was like, I started on this. I did not know. I mean, I was going to introduce people to mosaic, but I'm doing this with kids. This had to be fun. I'm like, okay, no rules. You can do whatever you want. And I wasn't going to teach them like this is how I would do it. And it all needs to look this way. Because this is me visiting these people, and it is about the connection, like we want to have fun. And here's some introduction to mosaic, and just be creative, express yourself. So as different, I've got so much different material. I'm like I was kind of getting a little nervous myself. Like, how is this really going to go together? And boy, do I have some work to do. But it actually, surprisingly, so many styles that without knowing it, these people came up with things that are just flowing just so beautifully together. Whether they were big or small, or like little kids built up, and I'm like, if it sticks, it stays. That was my rule. And like, so
because your work is so perfect, your work is so controlled and so perfect. Right. And this must have been a letting go process for you, when you say, there were no rules, lose control.
Yeah.
But in that losing control, and taking the very strong hold off that you would have in your own practice of how it goes, what did you sort of learn? What did you learn about that letting go process? And
well, I think COVID in general made me realize to let go. I have very little control over a lot of things, and that was a really important lesson for me. Like, I'm always planning and controlling and such. So I had to let go then. And so I was already in the process of and just let go, let this unfold. And it was, trying to get back to the question there.
Just what did you, I suppose, learning about that?
Yeah. And I think that when we don't have expectation, we're pleasantly surprised a lot of times. And I was just like, I'm just going to go with this and see what happens. I mean, I didn't have an expectation. And so maybe I just got really lucky.
So that's something too. It's like that, the idea of preconception, preconceiving an outcome.
Yeah.
It's something we try to avoid, because we have a concept or an idea. We want to let the process unfold, and we want the process to take us somewhere. But when you're working with so many people, you really don't know where that's going to go. But I remember we caught up the other day, Kate, had a chat about this beforehand, and one of the really incredible things you was talking about was how the process of gathering with very small groups, intimate groups, for COVID safety reasons, gathering with those intimate groups in that creative space was a real catalyst to conversation.
Yeah.
And opening. So can you talk a bit more about that?
Sure. So yeah, I was right in the heart of COVID. Actually, I thought there was an opening, but then it came right back with Delta. So I didn't know what to expect with travel and such. So meeting with people, and mask or no mask, or indoors, outdoors, whatever is comfortable. But the connection, I mean, it gave me the reason to show up at their doorstep. And it's kind of like, it wasn't just I was wandering around the country traveling. So just having that purpose to show up and have something to do. I mean, because literally there are people I hadn't seen in 30, 40 years. And how awkward could that be? Or, even 20 years, or I didn't know them that well, or I didn't know them at all. Like, this was the first time I'd met a lot of people in person, especially like mosaic artists. Maybe I knew their work or their name, but we hadn't met before and sat down like this in such an intimate way. So it was this great catalyst to have something to do with your hands. There was a purpose to my visit, and everybody was just so excited to be like talk and have some, like for a lot of people, I was their first visitor they've had in like a year or two. And so just that, people were craving conversation and craving unity. Like our country is kind of a mess, as you always know. It just like, just finding something that was unifying and really positive to be a part of. People really got into that. And for a lot of people, they don't have a creative outlet, or they're afraid or intimidated by art. And this project gave them something to do that was cool. And they got to learn something new and just be a part of something bigger. So it was well received, let's put it that way. Like,
and I think there's so much information now about the value of creating and being in the act of creating, and how it helps you to process things, and it takes you out of your fight or flight brain and into a different part of your brain, and allows you to sort of relax and the mindful process of that. So I'm just pausing on this slide here, because that's another question logistically, like how do you keep track of everybody? How do you know whose bit is whose bit, and does that even matter?
So it's Stop in this book, which has been an amazing part of this project. It's so special to me because it's got everybody's name, the date that they did the project, where they live, how we know each other, and then their signatures. So to see all these printed, handwritten from little kids and from, I don't know, anyways, it's just such a cool record and journey of this project. So it's been also a great reference for me, because I just finished photographing each little individual mosaic with the name and date, because I want to do a little coffee table book of it, one of my ideas. But and so I go back, if the tape fell off, or I didn't have their last name, or where are they from, whatever, I could reference back to this book. Well, it was in July, and I don't know, it was been fun having all of this documented so well, like that I could use things as reference, or old video or photographs to see, is that person's piece? But everything has been good in terms of documentation. And then in the final piece, my plan is to I'm going to have it pre-laid out on one table, and literally probably go in and piece it together. But I'm going to have everybody's names. So I want a little map or a key to give to the participants, so that they do know where theirs is, because everybody's excited. Like, oh, I'll know which one's mine. I'm like, not if I do my job well. You won't know which one's yours, where yours starts and where your ends. So I would like to have a key for them.
And what's the plan for sort of probably final question for you from me, and then there's some other questions coming in from our participants today, but how is it going to come together? Is it going to be one piece, 3 pieces, 4 pieces? Are you still going? Yep. What's the plan?
I'm down to 2 ideas. It still has to do with the whole tapestry idea, with an undulation kind of feel to it. And it's going to be one piece, because I thought about the title, Piecing Us Together. This piece has to be together. These pieces need to blend in together. So that's been an important part of it. And I mean, one of my ideas is to have it freestanding versus a wall hanging. And that's where it's getting a little tricky with the weight, and building the right substrate for it. And then with considerations of transporting this to hopefully several locations throughout the United States, so that people can see what they contributed to. So I have a lot of work ahead of me. An idea, and it was good. I kind of came back to my original idea of this fabric. I was off the charts for a while there, going, oh, I should do a sculpture of, I don't know. I was, and then I just reined it all right back in. I'm like, get back to it's together. The intention. Yeah. So that's part of it too, that letting the ideas burst out and go wild, and then actually that's not practical. Let's just bring it back down, edit it into something, and keeping true to that original intention of the plan of the project. Yeah. Beautiful, Kate. Thank you so much. Now, we cannot wait to see this come together. And there's a couple of questions that have come in, and some other comments.
So we have a question from Ellie for Kate, and Ellie would like to know whether you provided all the materials.
Yeah, so I reached out to my suppliers here in the United States if they would be interested in donating to the project, because I have big ideas for a documentary, and it's just going to be a big project, and would they consider kind of sponsoring or donating? So the 3 suppliers here in the States that I use generously donated all the materials, all the tools, the mesh, the adhesive.
So who are they, Kate?
And that is the Mosaico, Bohemian Element, as well as Wits End, which is also smalty.com. And yeah, those three have been amazing.
Thank you, Kate. And Diane Sonnenberg, basically, it's more of a comment, and she said that she was one of those people who hadn't met you in person, although she admired your work from afar. And it was really lovely experience to participate in this project. And even her husband asked if he could do a piece. And it was a great fun for both of them. So that's wonderful.
Yeah, I can't tell you how much fun it was to receive your message saying, hey, can I come over?
Yeah. I was pretty spontaneous with a lot of people. So I am so grateful for people like, sure, why not? And you were in the middle of like craziness and dropped everything and so graciously did this project with me.
So much fun. I'm delighted to see it coming together. It's amazing.
I know. I'm so glad you're part of it.
Thank you, Diane. Thanks, Diane. Thanks, Saskia. And thank you, Kate.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us. And I'd love to follow this up. Maybe later next year, round 2 collaboration. Let's see how this comes together, because I think that would be wonderful. And our final questions just jumped in from Marion. And Marion's question is, how long was the average work session?
I would say on average about 20 minutes. Some people took a lot longer. Some people jumped right in. But I was impressed. I mean, some people just kind of did it. It just, I would say 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I mean, the actual doing of the mosaic, but we ended up obviously visiting for hours, days, overnight. But yeah, I mean, I kind of allowed like a 3-hour set time frame around the project, so if there was time to chat and stuff, so people were in for.
Beautiful. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Kate. Kerrigan, Oregon, United States, and hopefully we'll see you again in person one day soon.
Yes, I hope so. I want to bring it to Australia.
Please come. Please come. We'll join in your project.
Yes.
I did ask you that, but you said that was something that really about the in-person. That was the most important part about it.
So I will come visit you.